Hello again, guys. Long time no speak. So today we're going to wrap up the story around the Ducati 848, which is obviously my bike, for those of you who don't know. Did a video on it about a month or so ago, 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks or so ago, just talking about the downsides of it. So today we're going to just park up and talk about the good sides of the bike, which there are many, because I'm always shitting on the bike, but there's definitely many positives for this beautiful machine. So stay with me and we shall crack on. Okay guys, here we are. So what are the positives about this bike? I think the first thing that I've always said is it is absolutely stunning. Visually, it is one of the best bikes I think, that has come out over the last 20 years. It's 2024 now, and it still looks as if it could compete with the bikes that are being released now. The V4, pretty much different front, but from the side it looks very similar, and I think Ducati have just nailed the design. There is no question about it. It looks amazing, always gets comments, people still stop by and look at it and ask questions from, it's been released now for 15 years, 16 years, and people are still interested to find out what bike it is, what year it is, etc. So I think, to me, that is number one, the best thing about this bike. The double exhaust at the bike, the streamline on the side, everything just flows. It just makes you scream Italian beauty the moment you sort of look at it. And obviously in red, I think it just emphasizes that to everyone looking at this as a Ducati, and it just screams, check me out. So that is the number one thing I love about this bike, is how other people look at it and view it. The second thing I want to talk about this bike is the price. So I bought this bike in 2020 in the heat of COVID lockdown, actually, but we won't go into detail. I had to drive quite a long way to go and pick it up. About 300 miles, 400 miles, and best decision I ever made. And the bike was £5,000 with 6,000 miles on it, I think, or just under 6,000 miles. £5,000, I think, for this bike is a bargain. And if you still look now, 4 years on, it is still worth the same amount of money. So I think they will probably hover at that price range before I think maybe kind of starting to go down a bit more. I didn't buy this bike because I think it was going to be a classic, and I was going to be able to sell it for 20 grand extra. I bought it just because I liked it and I thought it was the best of the bunch that I could afford at that time within my price range. So bought for 5,000. 4 years later, still worth £5,000. So, which, if any US viewers, it's about $7,000. Which, in comparison to how much bikes cost now, if you want a V2, for example, you're going to pay upwards of £10,000. If you want a V4, you're going to pay upwards of £15,000, even for second-hand ones. Obviously, that price will come down as time goes on. But I think it was an absolute bargain, a steal, and I am so glad I bit the bullet and I went for it. So that's number two. Number three is the fact that the bike has no user aids. I know people will be like, what the hell, why do you care? Why would you not want ABS, traction control, all this good stuff that comes with the bike? I do, and it certainly would come in handy in scary situations. However, I like the fact that the bike is raw. It's me. I'm in full control. There's nothing from the engine that's or electronics that's helping me, and it just feels right. Obviously, I'm not saying that safety elements aren't to be taken into consideration. Absolutely, for a road bike, I think they should, but I just think it adds that little bit of extra character and oomph that you just don't get nowadays on the other bikes. If a lot of people, other YouTubers talk about it, it just feels like the bike is in control, not you. But with this one, you slam your you press the back brake a little bit too hard, that back wheel is spinning. You press your front brake too hard, you're going to lock up. So it's just some of these things that's like, just makes you sit back and maybe think about your riding a little bit more. I don't know, just a thought anyway. That's sort of how I feel. And lastly, this is going to be a quick video, but lastly, what I think is a really cool thing about this bike, and something that I love, is when you hit that sweet spot on the gearing, you're coming out of a corner, I don't know, third most likely. And you've just got that nice sweet spot that when you come out of it and you're on the right rev range, it feels effortless and flawless, and I absolutely adore it. Maybe because it's more of a middleweight rather than sort of 1,000 or a heavier bike, or the way the engine's geared. I'm not hugely technically knowledgeable on the fact, but it just gives you a smile on your face when you've got that nice rev range and you just come out and it's absolutely steaming. So yeah, again guys, it's a blast riding this bike. I've talked about it before. I do feel like I'm ready for something a bit more user friendly and practical, but I've had loads of comments down, people saying if you change this, if you change that, it'll make it a little bit better on this, on this or that. It certainly would be worth fiddling with it and kind of tailoring it, but it kind of makes me think, what's the point in putting more cash into it if I'm just going to sell it? And the money that I get from this bike will hopefully go towards another one. And if any of you guys watch my other videos, I think you'll know which bike I'm going to go for next. So I'm going to pause it there, and we'll wrap it up, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.